Church leaders such as Desmond Tutu were accused of spreading communist ideology through liberation theology. Again, Desmond Tutu himself was never a self-admitted radical Marxist or Leninist like Joe Slovo and Nelson Mandela was, but there's an important distinction here. Liberation theology is not pure biblical theology. It is not the evangelical Christianity that is based on the teachings of Jesus Christ and of Paul and the Bible itself. It's not biblical. So in that sense, these Christian leaders did actually move away from pure Christian teachings into something that is not overtly Marxist or Marxist-Leninist, but something that is very much Marxist aligned. Now, I don't want to do an entire video on liberation theology. You guys can look at it for yourselves, but you can believe me that there is communist elements to it. So let's say this point was, I would give it a 50% correct, or let's make that a 70% correct. Then, another thing that Stratcom did was any call for sanctions or international pressure was labeled part of a communist plot to destroy South Africa. Again, this was Cold War era propaganda by the way that they framed it. But at the end of the day, the sanctions that the ANC were calling for against South Africa resulted in their takeover. And what we are seeing today here in South Africa is that communist ideology is being implemented in this country, even though they say Stratcom was only propaganda, with laws such as expropriation without compensation, which is about as communist as it gets. Then, here's another point. Stratcom also perpetuated the narrative that a communist takeover would lead to confiscation of white-owned property and widespread bloodshed that was deliberately amplified. So, here we see where Stratcom started moving into the predictions. And this prediction, I would say, is about 99% correct because of the fact that the ANC themselves said that they need to transform the land, give back the land to black people, etc., because of the fact that the ANC even implemented the Expropriation Without Compensation Act. We can see that in this prediction, even though we are not there where Zimbabwe was, where the farms were actually violently taken, the way in which South African politics moves suggests that this prediction made by them was more true than not true, and it was actually spot on for what the ANC wanted to do. As for the widespread bloodshed that we are seeing, yes, we are seeing widespread bloodshed, particularly against white farmers, just like Stratcom predicted. Farm murders were virtually non-existent before the late 80s, early 90s, and it only became worse and worse and worse under the ANC rule, and therefore we can quite clearly see that this was a spot-on prediction on what was going to happen when the ANC takes over. Then, these are the points that were made under the narrative of rooi gevaar. Now let's talk about the points that Stratcom was propagating under the narrative of swart gevaar or black danger. So, point number one, ANC leaders were portrayed as corrupt, tribalistic, violent, or incompetent. Wow. Now, here we're getting to something. This is probably the most spot-on prediction we have seen here today that was made by Stratcom. Today we are seeing the most widespread corruption you can probably even imagine. It's one of the most corrupt countries in the world. The ANC leaders are tribalistic. The violence in this country had reached unprecedented levels under the ANC. We've got over 60 murders per day in this country. We have the highest murder rate in Africa, and some of our cities even reach the top 10 highest murder rate in the world, which is unthinkable for Africa because all of the rest of the cities with the highest murder rate in the world are in South America or Central America, where the drug cartels basically rule. The only African cities that make it onto the top 10 are in South Africa. So widespread violence was 100% spot on. And then they also said ANC leaders were incompetent. And I think anyone with a brain today in South Africa can see that this is most likely true, that ANC leaders are incompetent, as we see that most of the state-owned enterprises, most of the municipalities are going down the drain, unless they are in the Western Cape. That is slightly better. I still wouldn't call the Western Cape service delivery and municipalities good in any sense, but it is at least slightly better than the ANC, and therefore we can draw this distinction between complete incompetence, such as the ANC, and just slight incompetence by the DA. Then another point that was made, townships were depicted as lawless zones where barbarism reigned. Wow, another spot on point made there. If we look at these crime stats that I actually just talked about, we see that the vast majority of them are being perpetuated in the townships. The most dangerous areas in this entire country is Nyanga and Khayelitsha in Cape Town, which is two black townships.